Facebook fact checkers rate this as mostly false. The only problem is tens of thousands of Washingtonians and the Washington State Board of Health website kind of disagrees. Welcome back to the High Impact Flicks channel. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know, and don't forget to subscribe to my private email list through my website, highimpactflicks.com, and subscribe to me on all my alternative channels. All those links are in the description and in the pinned comment. Time to roll the intro.
Hey guys, before I get into today's video, here's a shout out for this video's sponsor. When the shit hits the fan and the power goes out, one of the things you're going to need is an ultra bright flashlight and a power bank to charge your devices. This is the indoor-outdoor light bug work light. It's got a solar panel to turn sunlight into storable, usable energy, or you can charge it with a regular wall outlet. The adjustable bracket allows you to hang it, hold it in your hand, or get the perfect light angle on a table. It comes in handy for car repair, fishing, hunting, and camping. And check this out. I fully charged this thing, turned it on, and left it on the counter, and it shined for over 5 hours. Grab a couple of them for family and friends. Your link is in the description.
This is from PolitiFact. And do you remember that story the other day? This came out January 8th or 9th. Yeah, January 9th. Today, as of the recording of this video, it's the 14th, but it says Washington's State Board of Health will discuss mandatory you-know-what quarantines and VAXX requirements for school children at a January 12th meeting. No, Washington State, no, PolitiFact says, and Snopes says, and the Washington Post says, no, Washington State isn't considering involuntary COVID 1984 by George Orwell quarantines. They're not considering it. And in a sense, that's kind of true. They're not actually considering it. They've already considered it and made it. It's already made it into its own codes and rules in that state. And I'm going to show you here in a second. I'm going to try to go through this as quickly as possible. The Washington State Board of Health has a meeting scheduled for January 12th. As of the recording of this video, this is going to be 2 or 3 days ago, depending on when this gets rendered and goes up on the whatever platform. And social media users warned that officials were planning to discuss changes that will allow authorities to detain un-VAXX people in quarantine facilities and also to require you-know-what VAXX for children to attend schools. Fears residents had, and of course that would be warranted, or at least serious concerns. It's like, wait a second, what do you mean? If we don't submit to your health authorities, you're going to take us against our will into an internment camp? Because you think it's good for public safety and public health? Fears residents had about being taken against their will to an isolation site are unfounded, however, and any decision about whether to require VAXXs for students is a long way off. Don't worry. We're only considering forcing a jab into your little kids, but that's a long way off. It's like, wait, why are you considering it? You psychopaths. Hands off of my kid. A Facebook post, and that's this one right here that we're going to see. It's covered by a blur shell from Fedbook. A Facebook post shares a flyer that reads, the Washington State Board of Health will discuss applying current infectious disease WAC codes to include you-know-what for all Washington State residents. It goes on to say that the changes will allow health officials to use law enforcement to detain individuals or families in an isolation facility if they don't comply with requests for testing, treatment, and VA vaccination. And it also says the board will discuss adding you-know-what to school immunization requirements. This post was flagged as part of Fedbook's effort to combat false news and misinformation on its news feed. Read more about our partnership with Facebook, says PolitiFact. Oh, okay. Thanks for letting us know again that you're in cahoots with Mark Zuckerberg. This post was flagged as part of Facebook's effort to combat false news and misinformation. So they're calling this false. Guys, keep in mind, they are calling this false. I'm going to go to the Washington State Board of Health, their own site, showing you exactly what they said. The very thing that PolitiFact is going, they're not planning that. Are you crazy? That's misinformation. And it has to be because the fact checker said it was, right? after getting more than 25,000 emails. I wonder why 25,000 people thought it was necessary to contact these people. I wonder what concerned them. I wonder what actually tipped them off. Did they just come up with something out of thin air or pull something out of their arses? About the meeting agenda, the board posted an article saying it wanted to, quote, clarify some misinformation that is circulated online regarding the two topics on the agenda. And I do have that right here. That's this right here. This comes from the Washington State Board of Health. We could go through this whole thing, but this PolitiFact article actually encapsulates it nicely as they turn the spotlight on their own hypocrisy and fables and lies and deception and misinformation. First, the board said that item 9 on its agenda is related to rulemaking, but that it's not voting to change isolation or quarantine policies at the meeting. Actually, some of that's kind of true. Because like I said, they're not going to discuss this at the meeting because they already have a WAC in place. It's already there. And we're going to take a look at it from their own website. I ain't making this up. But of course, you're not going to see it on PolitiFact. Nor does it suggest law enforcement be used to enforce any VAXX requirements. It is continuing, and by the way, this is actually what it says. It says the board is not voting to change isolation and quarantine policies at its meeting on January 12th. The board is continuing a November 2021 rules hearing on the proposed rule change to Chapter 246-100, and we're going to look at those specific ones, WAC, communicable and certain other diseases as published in this WSR at the meeting. The board is proposing updating its rules to reflect current state law to align with engrossed substitute House Bill ESHB 1551, agenda item 9, while relating to rulemaking in this 246-100 that we're going to look at. And it says right here, look at this. Here is the fable. And does not include changes to isolation and quarantine policies, nor does it suggest law enforcement be used to enforce any VAXX requirements. And let's take a look at that. Here's the actual, I'm going to show C photo right here. And this is actually what it shows from the Washington State Board of Health. And I'm going to show you what it says, and then I'm going to show you straight from the website so you don't think that somebody, maybe they photoshopped this. That's that's using your critical thinking. Go, hey, why should we believe this? Maybe somebody photoshopped this. It says on January 12th at 9:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m., the the Washington State Board of Health will discuss applying current infectious disease WAC codes to include, you know what? For all WA state residents, see the list listed below policies. Here's policy number 1. Let me expand this for you so you can see it, so you can really see it. Get a good look at it. Allow local health officers to use law enforcement WAC 246-100-070 to force an emergency order to involuntarily detain a person or group of persons, families, to be isolated in a quarantine facility, WAC 246-100-045, which we're going to look at. Following a refusal to voluntarily comply with requests for medical examination, testing, treatment, counseling, vaccination 040. These specifics come from 246-100. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. They do come from that, including the you know what's as part of school immunization requirements using WAC 246-105. See the description for more information and contact info for WA State Board of Health. Now watch this. Here is the actual WAC for this. I'm just going to read a couple of them, and it might be hard to read because it's all spread out on the page, and it's kind of difficult to see, so I'm not going to be able to zoom in on it. But you'll get the idea. I think you'll be able to see it. I'm going to expand it as much as I can so you can actually see it. Where is it? Wow, that is long. Wow, it is getting small. Holy cow. Man, why do they write like this? Let's see if I can expand it as much as I can. This is from WAC 246-100-040. Okay, procedures for, why would you have that? Why would any freedom-minded, let's just say American, have this as a part of their WAC in their codes? And this is called the Washington State Legislature. Why would any politician have written that? Why wasn't this laughed out of the legislature? What do you mean, isolation or quarantine of American citizens? Just because somebody declared, hey, we need to remove you for public health reasons, for the greater good? Look what it says. At his or her sole discretion, a local health officer may issue an emergency detention order causing a person or group of persons to be immediately detained for purposes of isolation and quarantine in accordance with subsection 3 of this section, or may petition the Superior Court ex parte for an order to take the person or group of persons into an involuntarily detention for purposes of isolation or quarantine in accordance with subsection 4. That's in their own Washington State legislature, WAC 246-100-040. And this right here actually boils it down pretty good right here. So what I'll do is when this video gets done rendering and it uploads, I'm going to leave you all the links so you can look at the Washington State. What's the website? app.leg.wa.gov. This comes from their own website. This is theirs. I'm going directly to the source that says that they're going to do exactly what they told everybody on Facebook and Twitter they're not going to do. Here, these are the proposed policies, and it's kind of distilled on this Bellingham Metro News. But this is exactly what the policy says. And it gives the citation. Lawmakers in Washington State have proposed a new and invasive policy that would affect hundreds of thousands of Washingtonians. It says proposed policies allowing local health officers, which we just saw, to use law enforcement. Oh, wait. Here, let me see. That is under, let's see. It's just so long, guys. That's why I want to just encapsulate this, but it's in there. Local law enforcement to use law enforcement to force an emergency order to involuntarily detain a person or group of persons, families to be isolated in a quarantine facility. And then it says, following refusal to voluntarily comply with requests for medical examination, testing, treatment, counseling, via double vaccination. These specifics come from WAC 246-100, including the you-know-what's as part of the school immunization requirements. And here's some things that people were posting. The one, of the 25,000 is probably way more than that now. Don't they have the right to be concerned, by the way? If their legislators who are supposed to be championing the cause of individual rights are actually pinning crap like this? VB posted on the Nextdoor website, are you okay with law enforcement coming to your home and taking you or your family for non-compliance with an emergency policy? Irrespective of your personal religious or political views, or even your views regarding you-know-what and the you-know-whats, are you okay with this? Is this freedom? That's the question I ask everybody who's viewing this right here. Is this freedom? Is this synonymous with being a free moral agent, doing whatever you want to, putting whatever you want to in your own body without fear of repercussion from oligarchs who call themselves rulers and authorities and policymakers and political parasites? Is this freedom? Is this what constitutes your right to freedom? Is this really happening in the U.S.? Really? It is truly shocking, guys. And it shows how to fight back. It says, here's the government website. They got an example of what to say. I'm not telling anybody what to say. I'm not telling you should agree or disagree with this. I just want to hear your thoughts about this. Because as far as PolitiFact, talk about, look, they measure this as mostly false. Here, over here. Look at that. They rated it mostly false. Oh, really? So those concerns that Washingtonians have, those 25,000 who emailed, are not founded? They're not legitimate? This is really America. Guys, last I checked, when you see stuff going on like this, you'd think you were in China. You'd think you were in Venezuela. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comment section below. I'll see you guys in the next heavily censored shadow ban video.
It might be a good idea while you still can to convert your fiat currency notes into long-term storable food. Use my link in the description and get $100 off instantly for this survival food. Do it while you still can because, guys, I cannot guarantee that they're going to have this available in the future.